मिस्टर वसई मिळवलेला आहे किताब नंबर 10.
You must learn how to hate, because if you could be taught how to hate, you could also be taught how to love, and the latter comes to you easily. See, honestly speaking, we live in the world where we learn through contrast.
Okay.
You are black, but what makes you black? Because there is somebody who is white, somebody who is fair. Okay, so if you want to learn something that is intangible, मैं अगर तुझे एक चीज़ बोलता हूँ कि ये green है, तू देख सक रहा है green, that's why you can identify कि ये green है. But something intangible, something like ambition, something like dream, something like hope, something like commitment, intangible है. You cannot touch it, you cannot sense it, you cannot feel it, you cannot smell it. You do not have a sense to identify that intangible thing. How do you identify it then? By a paradox, by a contrast. And if you want to understand love, then you should have fear in your life. Unless and until you have that fear, you will not understand the gravity of love.
Hello and welcome back to yet another episode of Hangout With. Today we have Mr. Vasai 2015, double degree aerospace engineer, and he is also a member of Aeronautical Society of India. And lately we have seen him hosting shows, performing dramas, doing voiceovers, and even motivating people. So I'm really excited for this episode. So yeah, he's none other than Aniket Salvi.
Whoa, thank you so much for that amazing introduction.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be on Hangout With.
Yeah. So Aniket, I basically want to know about your background, your journey, like your childhood.
I would say my journey actually started after my 12th standard. Because
Okay.
what the scene was that in my 12th I was doing my science, okay,
Achha.
and I definitely wanted to do engineering, but due to some reasons I could not, go for coaching classes and things like that. So I was damn sure that I won't be, getting those good marks which I expected for an engineering college and things like that. So I never expected that I would be doing engineering I never expected that I would be doing engineering. I was good in maths and science, but engineering was never on because it was not something that, I could afford at that point in time.
Okay.
So I was very much into performing arts. I loved dancing. I used to perform at college fest. So what I thought for myself is that I would be, those I do not know what you call them, but those dancers who dance in the background. Yeah, background dancers, Shamat Davar ka group and all. So that was the thing back then. So that was what I was thinking for myself. But
Okay.
this is something that I always realized in that life always had some another different plans for me. See, I look at it in this way. कि अगर कोई कभी चीज़ कोई होनी होती है ना, when something has to happen, then everything just falls in place.
अच्छा.
Because I just mentioned कि जब मैं 12th standard में था तो my financial situation घर की इतनी अच्छी नहीं थी कि मैं class afford कर सकूँ. But then all of a sudden we decided that foreign degree के लिए कुछ try करते हैं. It's a matter of money, big money involved.
Exactly.
But I suppose it had to happen, and from somewhere, like there were certain my grandmother, she had some property deals which fructified, and वहाँ से पैसा आया, and then even my father he's a shareholder in one of our local banks here.
Okay.
So वहाँ से students loan we got at a very nominal interest rate, and things just unfolded. It was that's when I realized कि there is something known as destiny. There is something known as that something is written. If something has to happen, it will happen. But it did not stop there, honestly speaking, because when I 4 years I spent in Ukraine. Every year when I used to come back, all my friends used to say कि अभी तेरा तो अच्छा है, तू तो फॉरेन डिग्री लेके आएगा, तेरे लिए तो जॉब्स बहुत इजी होंगे, रेड कार्पेट से एंट्री करेंगे. तो कहीं ना कहीं मेरे दिमाग में हवा चली गई थी कि मैं मेरे लिए लाइफ तो बहुत सिंपल है. इंजीनियरिंग कर लो, एरोस्पेस इंजीनियर हूँ, कोई भी अच्छे से एयरवेज में जॉब मिल जाएगा और लाइफ सेट है. But then there was a catch. In 2008, India hit with a recession, if you remember. I passed out in 2010. And the worst industry to hit from recession was aviation industry. तो मुझे कहीं जॉब नहीं मिल रहा था. The first kind of job that I got was in Jet Airways, and that also was on a no fee no pay basis. So what I'm trying to tell you is, all my dreams that I had for me, it always got shattered. It did not matter if it was for my good or if it was for my bad. But whatever I thought for myself कि मैं ऐसा कुछ करूँगा, मैं इस direction में I put my hard work and all that direction, it never turned out to happen. But whatever happened was what I never imagined. By 3rd or 4th year of my career, I realized कि I'm not meant for a 9 to 5 job. मुझे कुछ तो और करना है. It was not about engineering. See, I love engineering. If you have seen my videos, the reason why I'm not a video editor. I've not even done a single course about video editing. The reason why my videos are so good, people appreciate and like them so much, the transitions and everything, because I'm a good engineer.
Okay.
So people think that if you're a good engineer, you just have to work with pana. No, that's not the scene. If you're a good engineer, that means you have a vision. You have a precision in everything that you do. So it does not matter if I'm working on an aircraft or if I'm working on a video. वो engineering वाला जो discipline है, that I have, वो पूरी तरह से inculcate हो गया है मेरे अंदर. So here's the thing which I realized about Mr. Vasai and why did I win it? Okay, or rather how did I engineer to win that competition? Because here's this thing, people who were participating with me were definitely a lot more good looking than I was. But here's this thing, they were participating in that competition since the last 6 years. I know participants who were competing, who were participating from last 6 years. Okay, so उनका 6 years out and out experience तो बनता है, उनको पता है क्या होना है, कैसे होना है. While I was just 18 days old. Since the day my friend called me up and she was like कि bro हमारे group में लड़कों की कमी है. That was the requirement. Okay, हमारे group में लड़कों की कमी है. तो can you join in? So I was like, wow, modeling तो हमेशा से, because I told you right, वो dance और वो glam stage वो सब था, but कभी कोई opportunity नहीं मिली थी. Two former Mr. Vasais who were the head of that group, Amaya Iyer and Akshay Salvi. So they were teaching us, rather grooming us in all the aspects. So I asked them कि होता क्या है Mr. Vasai? So I was initially made fun of because तू competition में आया तुझे Mr. Vasai क्या होता है पता नहीं. बोला नहीं पता, like that's how, like नहीं हूँ इस field से, so can you please explain, elaborate? So that's when he was telling certain things. So what he basically meant, मेरा भाई था तभी मेरे साथ, okay? मैं just ऐसे ही गया था, बोला चल देखते क्या है, तो मैं मेरे भाई को लेके गया था साथ में. So he was there, luck by chance or maybe by coincidence. So जब वो बता रहा, so basically what I understood was being Mr. Vasai is nothing but being street smart, being honest, authentic, and just being presentable. The person that you are, being raw and being real. That was Mr. Vasai was, and that's the same thing Akshay was explaining me in his own words. वो सब जब हो गया ना, एंड मैंने बस सुन के हाँ ठीक है कुछ तो होता, बिकॉज तभी ऐसा कुछ था नहीं कि मुझे ये जीतना है, ये मेरा गोल है, ऐसा कुछ नहीं था ऑनेस्टली स्पीकिंग. बस एक एक्साइटमेंट थी कि हम स्टेज पे जाएंगे, 10,000 पीपल वुड बी देयर एंड थिंग्स लाइक दैट. व्हेन वी वर लीविंग, सो माय ब्रदर सोहम, माय यंगर ब्रदर, आई रिमेंबर हिम टेलिंग मी दिस कि भाई उसने जो कुछ भी बोला ना वो सब तो तू है, तो मतलब तू मिस्टर वसई है. So this is the reason why I motivate people, because when somebody else believes in you, right, that's when you realize that, hey, wait a second, if somebody else can believe in me, why can't I fucking believe in me? Exactly. Doesn't that make sense? Yeah. वो movies में होता है कि तू एक शाम को जा और कुछ तो कर और वो रजनीकांत जैसा कर and things. It does not work that way. You have to configure it. You have to engineer everything. Gradually I broke it down into parts कि introduction होता क्या है. अगर मुझे कोई 30 seconds या 90 seconds दे रहा है, तो what should I say in those 90 seconds that I impress, not only impress the audience, the judges, but also make sure that I stand out from the rest of the crowd, because it's a competition at the end of the day. When I groom Mr. and Miss Vasai participants, I try to transcend this vision to them कि it's not a thing of luck. Definitely ये सब चीजें थोड़ी है, but ऐसा नहीं कि 100% luck ही है. Exactly. It is a combination of a lot of things, but you are in the center of the center. So if you stay motivated, if you stay calm, if you stay clear and focused about what you want, then it's just a cakewalk. On the other hand, if you just get nervous and if you be just be taken away by small talks, by the small talks that your head does or people around us, then Miss कोई title तो क्या तुम life में कुछ भी चीज सही से नहीं कर पाओगे. So the one best thing that happened to me after Mr. Vasai was, I started believing in me. Okay. I started realizing that if I wish of achieving something, if I channelize all my focus in one direction, then not controlling the results, but I can definitely take that leap and definitely achieve something which I never imagined that I could do it. Okay. And that was a time जब वो एक करियर में ना, आपके करियर में एक 4-5 साल के बाद एक स्टैग्नेशन आ जाता है. And that is a point when you have to ask yourself कि मुझे इसके आगे भी यही लाइफ जीनी है, ये 9 to 5 करना है, ये कीबोर्ड जॉब करना है, या जो भी मैं कर रहा हूँ मुझे वही करना है, या फिर मुझे कुछ और भी ये सब करते करते अगर मैंने कोई नई स्किल्स डेवलप की है, मैंने कोई नए इंटरेस्ट जनरेट किए हैं, तो क्या मुझे वो परस्यू करना है. एंड दैट वाज दैट एग्जैक्ट वेंटेज पॉइंट. दैट्स द रीजन व्हाई आई से वो 25 इयर्स का December 31st of December व्हेन आई वाज 25, दैट वाज अ वेंटेज पॉइंट फॉर मी. देन आई वाज एक्चुअली ऑस्ट्रक बाय विद दिस क्वेश्चन, टाइम इंपॉर्टेंट है कि पैसा इंपॉर्टेंट है. 5 years down the line, if things remain the same with you, that means you're not growing in life. When I started my first job, I was earning 6,000 rupees per month, despite being an aerospace engineer. Okay. Despite being an aerospace engineer, I was getting paid only 6,000 rupees per month. 7 years down the line, I was getting paid 6 digits per month. 7 years, just 7 years. Okay. And by this time, I was a double degree aerospace engineer, a member with the Aeronautical Society of India, and a lot of accolades to my name. Why did that happen? You know, you're given many choices at every point in time. The choices that you make and the decisions that you take actually decide the path that you will lead for yourself. So success is also the same thing. If you put in that hard work, if you put in that dedication, if you be honest with yourself, if you do everything that is required, or honestly speaking, truth is always simple.
Okay.
The simplest thing is truth. So everybody actually knows what needs to be done.
बराबर.
So success कोई बड़ा high funda formula नहीं है. It is the most simplest thing that could happen to you. But problem क्या होता है, dilemma कहाँ generate होता है, confusion कहाँ होता है, हम जब खुद को compare करते हैं किसी और से,
Exactly.
कि ये बंदा तो ऐसा कर रहा है यार, तो शायद मैं भी वही कर लेता हूँ. मुझे इंटरेस्ट तो आर्ट्स में है, बट घर वाले कहते हैं कि इंजीनियरिंग करेगा तो अच्छी सैलरी मिलेगी. तो इंजीनियरिंग में भी तो आर्ट्स ही तो होता है ना. तो मैं when you start making a fool out of yourself, जब तुम खुद को उल्लू बनाना कोशिश करते हो ना, so that's when you actually start getting deflated from your own path. अगर आप अपने fingerprints देखते हो, your fingerprints will not match anybody in this world. Anybody. That means that you are unique, just like everybody else. That's a paradox.
Yeah.
You are unique just like everybody else. So that means that your journey, your path, your dreams, your aspirations, your ambitions, everything is unique.
Okay.
I'm doing. Even I ask myself this question, भाई तू करना क्या चाहता है? So it's always about figuring it out.
Yeah.
And the more I am getting deep into it, as you asked, as a question was, कि tell something about your journey. So it's all about figuring out. We all are on a phase of journey. It does not mean कि मैं कहीं पहुंच गया, इसका मतलब that I have reached and I have achieved. No, I have achieved till some extent. But I'm still on my own levels. I'm still on my own phase. Every morning, the reason why I feel motivated every morning, despite of all the hindrances and all the hard works and all the sad stories that is running in the background, is that I'm able to contribute to people with my own life experiences. This is something that I have. This is something that is not borrowed. This is something that does not belong to anybody. ये मेरे खुद का है, ये मेरे लाइफ एक्सपीरियंस, भले वो अच्छे है, बुरे है, क्रिएटिव है, प्रोडक्टिव है, कुछ भी है, ये मेरे खुद के है. And I just, they say that stand in your own power, and when people come, build them. So that is what I'm trying to do with my channel. That is what I'm trying to do with hashtag with Aniket. I'm just trying to tell my story. Ki this is how it worked out for me. So if this in this entire journey, if I've learned something, is definitely work hard, be very much, be joyful, love whatever you do, but at the same time have this small notion in your mind that what are you giving back while what you're doing. And this is what was not happening in my 9 to 5 job.
अच्छा.
सब खुद ही के लिए हो रहा था, सब खुद ही के लिए हो रहा था, इसलिए दैट हीट इट यू जस्ट फील कि मजा नहीं आ रहा है. एंड दैट्स द रीजन व्हाई लाइक कुछ और करते हैं, कुछ तो और करते हैं, एक ही लाइफ है ब्रो.
Okay. So Aniket, what was your parents' reaction when you told them that you want to quit your job?
तूने फ्रेम करके लाया था क्या क्वेश्चन? सो यस दिस थिंग, मुझे कैसा ना, आई स्पीक अ लॉट. I know I can convince anybody. Convincing people of your dream, of whatever you have. So I knew one thing for sure, कि मैं दुनिया में किसी को भी convince कर सकता हूँ, but one person, and that's my mother. तो मैं मेरे डैड को थोड़ा सा sugar coating करके थोड़ा सा convince कर सकता हूँ, sister and all, but the only person whom I could not convince was my mother.
Okay.
So here's what I did, and here's what I actually did. Okay. My mom goes to this Vipassana 10 days का, if you have heard of Vipassana, तो 10 days का course होता है. So when you enter that 10 days का thing, you keep your mobile, everything aside, you're just like completely isolated from the outer world.
Okay.
So आपसे कोई contact नहीं कर सकता, आपसे कोई कुछ नहीं कर सकता. So it was September 2018, 2 साल पहले की बात है. It's September 20 now. So she had gone to such a course of Vipassana. So what I did was, I put down my papers. मैं पूना में था, okay? So I was not staying at home. I was in Pune. 9 day को मॉम को फोन वगैरह मिल गया, and she was like, she called up dad and I was there. So तू यहाँ पे तू इकडे काय करतोय? बोला ना मैं आलेलो, तू कधी येतेस? So I'm coming tomorrow. And when she came down, I did not ask her that should I do this. Rather I told her that I did this, and now this. Convincing your parents, it's never 100%. It's a limit that tends to infinity. They get to know from people rather about the work that I'm doing, so they feel happy. They do not tell me though. But a lot of times they are not happy because the society that I told you about, the conditioning that we have, उनको कैसा है कि I'm 31 now. तो अगर लड़के का शादी करना है तो अच्छा लड़की वाले पहले जॉब है कि, but it's whatever it is. I respect what their thinking is, but even I have my thinking, right? And it's the golden median that we both have to work through. And now 2 years down the line, घर वाले अभी भी ना खुश है क्योंकि come on dude, 6 digits in a month. एंड नाउ सिंस द लास्ट 3-4 मंथ्स लॉकडाउन जब से स्टार्ट हुआ तब तो पता भी नहीं कि पैसे आएंगे कहाँ से, रेवेन्यू कहाँ से जनरेट होगा, बिकॉज थिंग्स आर सो हेवायर. उनका भी से क्योंकि दे आर लुकिंग फॉरवर्ड टू स्टेबिलिटी. व्हाई आई थिंक दिस इज अ ब्लेसिंग टू मी, बिकॉज आई एम गेटिंग टू नो माई पेरेंट्स वन मोर टाइम. Give me some sunshine, give me some rain, give me another chance. I want to grow up once again. So I'm getting to grow once again. I'm getting that one more time of understanding my mom, of understanding my dad, of understanding me rather. How can I be a better son?
Okay.
So I think it has been a boon to me. It has been a blessing, and I'm so glad. Wow.
As you were speaking about money part, तो जब 6 digit से सीधा कम हो जाता है, जब अकाउंट में फ्लो नहीं होता है, तो एज एन इंडिविजुअल कैसा लगता है? लाइक
डर लगता है ब्रो.
ओके.
बहुत ज़्यादा डर लगता है. Because this is the only reason why people, सबको कुछ ना कुछ ड्रीम है ब्रो, सबका कुछ ना कुछ एम्बिशन है ब्रो, बट 100 में से सिर्फ 1% क्यों ग्रिड खोल के बाहर आते हैं? हिम्मत करनी पड़ती है. एंड ऑनेस्टली स्पीकिंग वो हिम्मत क्रेजीनेस है, इट्स मैडनेस. दैट इज कम्प्लीटली अ लीप ऑफ फेथ. दैट्स व्हाट आई सेड, राइट, कि टाइम इंपॉर्टेंट है कि पैसा इंपॉर्टेंट है. एंड आई सॉल्व दैट इक्वेशन. टाइम इंपॉर्टेंट है ब्रो. मनी इज अ रिन्यूएबल रिसोर्स. आप उसको कभी भी कैसे भी ऊपर नीचे हो सकता है. टाइम इज नॉट. एक बार टाइम निकल गया तो टाइम निकल गया. जिद करनी पड़ती है. तो गॉड्स ग्रेस वो तो आपको चाहिए. बेसिकली द रीजन व्हाई वी आर सिटिंग हियर एंड हैविंग दीज अमेजिंग थॉट्स एंड दिस अमेजिंग कंपनी इज बिकॉज ऑफ गॉड्स ग्रेस. सेकेंडली आपको जो चाहिए वो आपको मिलेगा, बट जिद करनी पड़ेगी ब्रो. कभी कभी क्या होता है ना, इट्स नॉट द पीपल दैट यू फाइटिंग. आई एम नॉट फाइटिंग माई पेरेंट्स. समवेयर आई एम फाइटिंग देयर माइंडसेट. समवेयर आई एम फाइटिंग माई ईगो.
उनकी भी गलती नहीं है.
एग्जैक्टली, उनका भी सही है. सी, एंड दिस इज अ साइन ऑफ जीनियस when you can hold two paradoxical, two opposite ideas at the same time and be okay with it.
Okay.
That is a sign of genius. So that's how you find a golden median, and that's when things actually work on. That's when you do something which outrageous, किसी ने कभी सोचा भी नहीं था. मैंने खुद ने नहीं सोचा था डबल डिग्री एरोस्पेस इंजीनियर बन के मैं जॉब छोड़ दूंगा. I never imagined, right? So that's how, see, magic is something, it needs two very strong polarities.
Okay.
एक साइड होता है कि you have to be happy in what you are given. This is what our preconceived notion, this is what our society, this is what our upbringing, this is what the status quo tells you. तुझे दिया है ना, उसमें खुश रहे. ये बहुत स्ट्रॉन्ग पोलैरिटी है. उसके टक्कर में अगर तेरे खुद की जिद का पोलैरिटी है ना, वो I just don't know, I just want to do it. वो जब पोलैरिटी, जब फ्रिक्शन होता है ना, that's when the sparks of magic they just come out.